Hello everybody, welcome to a very soggy Zandvoort for the Dutch Grand Prix. An amazing performance from Estebanocon yesterday opens up an incredible opportunity for him today. Pole position, but Ferrari will also feel they've got a chance. Charles Leclerc on the front row gets his qualifying sorted out just when the Ferrari is coming good. Perez in third place, Sainz in fourth. So Ferrari the big opportunity, as well as Ocon and Perez, of course. George Russell fifth, much improved from McLaren. Lando Norris sixth, Lewis Hamilton seventh. And what can you say about Max Verstappen's home Grand Prix weekend so far? It has been absolutely miserable. There doesn't look to be any hope of him winning this race, or even maybe even getting on the podium today. Max has been absolutely, anything that can go wrong has gone wrong, and how we got into 8th place on the grid is a miracle, to be honest. Alonso, when the Alpine's good enough to take pole, Alonso, who has eclipsed Ocon by far this season, struggles through to 9th place. So shame, bit of a jumbled grid, and shame for Alonso really, because when the car is good enough to take pole, he's not the one who gets to benefit from it. That's very unfortunate. Both AlphaTauris up well compared to where they have been. I know that they've had a good level of performance from one of their cars recently, but this time both cars are up in the top 14. So Aston Martin not looking too great. Haas as well, they had a bit of a struggle. Mick Schumacher and Magnussen both down there. Tsunoda out-qualifying Albon on this occasion in the Williams, 18th and 20th for those two. So let's have a look forward to this Dutch Grand Prix. Hopefully it's going to be a good race. It's wet. We don't know if it's going to dry out enough for any tyre changes. We'll have to wait and see. Esteban Ocon there then, sitting on pole. He's got Charles Leclerc to his right. Probably the most unorthodox front row of the season so far. And we get to enjoy what happens here. Ocon gets in the way, a little bit sluggish. Leclerc moving around, everyone's moving around, trying to find something or other. And Leclerc straight inside Ocon, and Sainz has got inside Perez as well. So maybe not a, well, Max Verstappen has actually made a reasonable start. I think he's up in the 6th place there maybe. But so, great start from Leclerc. Ferrari now open up a big opportunity to get their first victory since Saudi Arabia. Max Verstappen though, he's made a solid start. Hamilton, very disappointing start, all the way down into 9th place. Esteban Ocon, he's still holding on to 2nd. He still has high hopes of a good performance, even if it's not what he was hoping for. There comes Sainz, have a look, oh wow, that's an incident. Sainz into Ocon. Any hope of a great result for Ocon absolutely ruined. He's basically down with the midfielders now, where you would expect him to be behind his teammate Alonso, and struggling. Can't get any grip because possibly some damage there. Sainz, he is without a front wing. So, well, Ferrari, that's a disappointment, and they're going to put him, but that is, well, chance for 1-2 definitely blown. Look at Max Verstappen going through. I started 8th, already up in the 4th as we come towards the end of lap 1. What a remarkable turn of events, and Perez is up behind Leclerc. So all of a sudden, Red Bull are looking competitive for the victory. They haven't had a sniff all weekend, but they're all into the pits. Leclerc and Perez and Norris, who had got up to 3rd, they're all into the pits. Well, we know from this game that's surely the wrong decision. Look at that, that's Gasly and one of the Alfa Romeos, and Gasly into the wall, and I think the Alfa's lost his front wing. Hamilton there in 3rd place. Ricciardo in 4th. Who is 2nd then? I think is Max Verstappen is into the lead. So from 8th on the grid into the lead in his home Grand Prix. We said nothing's gone wrong for Max. Nothing's gone right so far for Max in this weekend, but suddenly it all goes right in the race, and Max Verstappen, with probably what I would have to say is one of the drives of the season, is leading the Grand Prix from 8th on the grid. He still had to make his way past people, even with some retirements and stuff and some pit stops. So Sainz though still holding up Ricciardo. Now Ricciardo gets through, but Sainz briefly got promoted back to 2nd. But this is a typical Ferrari strategical decision. They pitted Leclerc, which puts Leclerc out of track position, and at the same time they've not pitted Sainz, the car without a front wing that needs to pit. I mean, this is just absolutely crazy strategical error from Ferrari, and they've blown any hope of getting much points at all on board of Max Verstappen. There he goes. Max is only 1 lap away from victory now at home. Certainly wouldn't have expected this before the race. Sainz still holding on to, I think, 4th place, but there's no way, or maybe 5th. I think there's an Alfa Romeo ahead of him. There is Bottas, has made a very strong performance. But look at Daniel Ricciardo up there in second, has shown nothing really since his early season performances. But today, I mean, Lando Norris, I think his suspension has let him down, is it? Or they're saying that he's having an issue. He's still in the race, but McLaren is saying they have an issue and they don't know if he's going to finish the race. So, well, there we go. He's got a problem, and Norris out of the race. So a blown opportunity for Lando Norris. Lost his front wing, suspension damage. And once again, that seems to happen a lot for Lando this season. Well, look at Hamilton going out wide. Ricciardo trying to hold him back. This is the battle for second place. And all you can say is Ricciardo's done well. Hamilton, he will be finding missed opportunities because he was ahead of Max Verstappen on the grid. He's had no obvious delays other than getting stuck behind Sainz, but Verstappen passed him early, so Hamilton could well have been in that battle for victory today, but it's Max Verstappen maximising his opportunities, and across the line he comes to take an unbelievable victory in the Dutch Grand Prix, a home win. Lewis Hamilton still can't pass Daniel Ricciardo, and he's running out of time. And I think Ricciardo now, look, he's got a little bit of a gap. Hamilton is still there, but not as close as he was. And Daniel Ricciardo takes that second place. Lewis Hamilton has to be settled with third place. At least it gets Mercedes back onto the podium, and hopefully it will give them some confidence going into Monza. Bottas finishes fourth. Alonso gets up in the fifth place and finishes ahead of his teammate Estebanocon yet again, who I think has managed to get back into the points somehow, even with damage to his car. But what a disappointing tail for Estebanocon, a much missed opportunity. And Albon in the Williams finishes sixth, and Tsunoda eighth. So Williams, great performance from both of their cars. But Max Verstappen, that surely has to be the driver of the season so far. And we have seen some incredible drives this season, but I think this performance today has just topped them, and it shows why he is the World Championship leader, now by almost 40 points, even ahead of his teammate Sergio Perez. Max Verstappen is slowly closing in on world title number 2. So Max Verstappen wins this Grand Prix then. Daniel Ricciardo, second place. What a turnaround for McLaren. They haven't actually passed Alfa Romeo in the Constructors, but they are closing now very nicely indeed. Finally turning it around after a very disappointing mid-season where they could barely qualify in the top 10. Well, they've been qualifying in the top 10 recently, and finally, for Ricciardo at least, it goes right today. And he makes the most of opportunities and finishes second ahead of Lewis Hamilton, who comes home third. Valtteri Bottas, a quiet, unassuming race, but to go from, where was he at? I don't know if he was even, I think Joe actually out-qualified him here, didn't he? So, but Bottas to go from, I think it was 12th or 13th on the grid, maybe even 14th, to finish fourth. Outstanding performance from Bottas. Alonso, solid, not a great qualifying yesterday, but made the most of his opportunities. Didn't have as many opportunities as some ahead of him, but Alonso did what he could, and he got into fifth place. Alex Albon, great performance for Williams, finishes in sixth. Stroll, seventh for Aston Martin. They haven't done much at all lately, so a relief for them to get some points. Yuki Tsunoda, eighth for Williams. Ninth, Esteban Ocon. Pole position, a very disappointing race. Heartbroken when Sainz knocked him off. He could surely have got on that podium, I think, but yeah, absolute disappointment for Esteban Ocon. Ninth place finish. Sergio Perez takes a mere point. And Ferrari, they had Leclerc go out with an engine failure, and Sainz didn't do much either. So the championship, Verstappen is 39 points ahead of Perez, Hamilton on 159, Russell on 146. If you've enjoyed this crazy race, please like and subscribe and keep in touch with what we're doing here. Thank you for watching, and take care.